Low Targar friends, hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it's time for another orc mode workout, and today is my posterior chain and shoulder day. I started off with my first heavy set with a 2.5-inch deficit on the stiff bar, and then after that I'm just like, I feel like doing normal deadlifts. So I'm just going to swap bars, swap plates, and just do, a 495 heavy set. So what I'm doing with these, because I am throwing shoulders in on posterior chain day, I superset them. Normally a lot of this stuff I'm doing opposing muscle groups, like yesterday's chest and back, and I have an arm day. But in this case, it's not opposing, but they're also very big muscles. The shoulders, particularly the delts, are the largest muscle in the upper body. It's been confirmed with studies. So again, a lot of upper body work just from doing delts. But they're also a lot easier on recovery, the exercises I pick. So I just do posterior chain in between. I don't feel like this compromises my deadlift form. Also, making some notes. You guys should see the extra whoosh happen probably by next week. I'm making some adjustments to my diet. Definitely gotten leaner, but I'm holding quite a bit of water around the waistline and other areas. I'm about to make that go away. I'm not going to go into details in the blogs on what I'm doing with that. But again, noticing that as I start to get leaner, sometimes the skin starts to look a little bit looser. But again, I know when I've done different things in my diet, because I keep all these vlogs and I have all the screenshots of it, guess what? I know it makes me hold or drop water. I know it gives me a different look a little bit. So again, summer is approaching. And again, I'm running a fitness channel. And even though I've historically been strength and powerlifting, I want to have a much better physique by the time summer gets here. So it's a matter of those weak areas are coming up, and then I need to tighten up that whole waistline. So we're about to work on making that happen a little bit. But I'm not really going to do a hard cut, and I want to be clear on that. What I'm going to do is just adjust to make that water drop off, because I need to keep gaining muscle, right? I've got to bring up those weak points. So for the upright rows, yes, I don't take them up super high because I'm not concerned with doing that. I'm trying to mostly just hammer these side delts, because my front and rear delts do get a lot of work on my other days, particularly my chest and back day. So the whole point there is making sure I'm getting that stretch at the bottom. We got a rep PR there. I did 2 sets of 7 last time with that. I got 8 and then failed. So notice most of the shoulder sets are taken to failure. I'm grinding a little bit on the last rep on the posterior chain stuff, so you'll notice they are pretty hard. I don't feel like I have another rep without taking a several second break to rest, pause on each of those. I went a little heavier on the glute ham raises. I'm like, look, let's just keep with this theme and going a little heavier on bigger stuff. So I ended up only getting 5s because I used that 25, but I also don't ever get hamstring cramps when I do that. But right here, the laterals, I ended up getting 11 and then failing and then 10. And you guys see what I mean about the waistline there. You notice it starts to get a little bit sometimes saggier as I'm losing fat, even though I have all that loose skin and fat in there. So I think we'll see that tighten up a little bit. But notice the chest and upper chest is looking a little more separated again now, which again tells me I'm on the right track. I have to drop that extra water off around the waistline. And yes, I know that it tightens up. I need to eventually publish those water cut pictures where you can see my lower back, because all of that tightened up when I did that water cut down to the 198. At least one of the 2, I had pictures of the lower back in the hotel room, and all of that is gone. It's all tight. So again, I know that when I dry it out, it tightens up, irrespective of the loose skin and then the fat adhering to it. So what we did here, the sets of glute ham raises, and I superset it with laterals. I'm pretty happy with these laterals. I'm able to do a much heavier weight stricker than I was previously. I feel like I'm making progress here. But the name of the game with a lot of this is fairly moderated volume, really hard sets. So what I'm doing at this point is just pushing progressive overload on straight sets to failure, or very close to. And yes, I feel like I need to make some videos on that, because I see a lot of the evidence-based guys where we say, well, the 2 new sets to failure is too much fatigue, even though the same guys will say, yeah, but every rep closer to failure probably has a better training stimulus than the rep before it. But then they're worried about fatigue. Well, why are they worried about too much fatigue? So they can't do more volume? But you don't need as much volume. And it's still easier on your overall recovery. okay? That's the difference I notice with training like this versus trying to do really high volume with a 2 or 3 reps in reserve. Totally different on the recovery. Totally different. You feel totally different day to day. All right, I decided to do today, I did rear delts last time, but I also sat back and said, do I really need a bunch of rear delt focus work with all the rowing and stuff I do? Plus all these laterals do hit the rear delts. Like really at this point, I need to just make sure my side delts grow. And keep in mind, I want to be clear, all 3 of these shoulder exercises work everything. They all work the front, side, and posterior deltoid. So so there'd be anterior, lateral, and posterior. They all work the upper trap. All of that gets worked on all 3 of these movements, just slightly different angles. So, but all of them also have a slight bias towards the side delt, which is really kind of the purpose of this shoulder day, because it's not like the other stuff's not being worked, particularly on the chest and back day. So I superset those with my reverse hypers. Okay, reverse hyper is the only high rep thing I'm doing for posterior chain. The other stuff is all 5s. And I kind of want to stay for most of my big movements 5 to 8 reps, if possible. I don't mind going up to 12, 8 to 12 on smaller movements. Right now, and occasional some exercises can go higher. This can go higher, it's fine. So I did these, and then I finished up with some ab work. And I think I'm going to start doing a little ab work most of the workouts. For a while, I remember at one time, and actually right before I did that water cut for that meet, I was doing more ab work. I was doing ab work almost daily. I feel like I can get away with it, particularly stuff like hanging leg raises because they're a traction exercise. I feel like when I did them the other day and I had such intense cramping after, I know my abs are out of shape again. So I need to work on those. It may help me tighten the waistline up more, number 1. But number 2, I think it's going to make a difference on all my squatting and stuff, right? Particularly if I want to go back over to everything beltless. As everything tightens up, I might want to make sure that I bridge the gap and make sure my abdominals are very strong. It would be a good idea. Because eventually I'd like to go over back to training, beltless potentially. But if I'm going to do that, I need that core to be strong. So kind of killing a couple different birds with one stone. And I disagree with the people who say that, the ab training won't affect how your abs look. That's nonsense. Sorry, bigger, thicker abs are still going to look more defined when you strip the fat off. Yes, having a six-pack or not is a matter of body fat, water, all that. Absolutely true. But thickening those abs up is still going to make them look deeper and bigger. Okay? So finished up with hanging leg raises. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.